He possessed wealth beyond imagination. Then the earth swallowed everything. His name was Qarun, and his fortune had made him famous. Even the keys to his treasures were a burden to strong men. Behind those doors were treasures most people could only dream of. But Qarun began to see his wealth as proof of his own greatness. He was among the people of Musa, yet his wealth set him apart. Some admired him, others worried about what his wealth was becoming. Then his people confronted him with a warning. They reminded him, "Do not exult, for Allah does not love the arrogant." They urged him to use what Allah gave him for the hereafter. They told him to do good with what Allah had given him, and they warned him not to spread corruption in the land. Qarun heard every word, but his heart was already convinced. Why would a man who had everything believe he needed anyone? Qarun had his answer. He believed his knowledge had earned it all. To him, his success was proof of his own ability, and that belief changed the way he looked at everything. Then one day, Qarun came out before his people in his full splendor. People stopped what they were doing just to watch him pass. For some, his display looked like the ultimate success. Some looked at him and wished they possessed what he possessed. But not everyone was impressed by what they saw. They knew Allah's reward was better than anything Qarun possessed. Qarun saw their reaction, but their humility meant nothing to him. When the procession disappeared, the people returned to their lives. Qarun returned to the one place where he felt completely powerful. Surrounded by riches, he believed nothing could take them away. But the greatest danger was no army, no thief, and no rival. The danger was the pride growing inside him, and the warnings he had heard were already fading from his mind. Qarun no longer saw his wealth as a blessing. He saw it as proof that he had earned his position. Even the way he walked now carried the weight of pride. His people could see how far his heart had changed. The richer he became, the farther he seemed from them. Yet some still looked at him and wished they were in his place. But others knew that worldly wealth could disappear in an instant. But Qarun had become certain that his position was secure. He had wealth, influence, and the admiration of those around him. Yet beneath all that wealth, humility had almost disappeared. The warnings of his people had not changed him. They reminded him again not to seek corruption or forget the hereafter. Qarun turned away from the advice. He had reached a point where wealth no longer served him. He served his wealth. He believed he had everything. He did not know how little time remained. Nothing around Qarun looked different. His world still appeared secure, but the people had not forgotten what they had witnessed. Some still believed Qarun had achieved the greatest success imaginable, but the wiser among them understood that worldly life could deceive. Two groups looked at the same wealth and saw completely different things. Qarun himself remained convinced that nothing could take his position away. Behind him stood the treasures he believed represented his power. But what looks permanent to a human being can disappear by Allah's command. Then came the moment Qarun could never have prepared for. Without warning, the ground beneath Qarun began to give way. Qarun's confidence vanished as the earth opened beneath him. His wealth, his house, and his worldly power were pulled beneath the earth, and suddenly the man everyone envied was nowhere to be seen. The ground closed over what Qarun had once called his own. The treasures that once filled his world had vanished with him. For a moment, nobody seemed able to understand what they had witnessed. This was the same man they had envied only moments before, and suddenly their envy no longer made any sense. They began to understand that wealth had never meant safety. His wealth could not save him. His status could not save him. Even the home that displayed his greatness had disappeared. Those who had wished for his life now saw it differently. They realized that Allah expands provision for whom He wills, and He can withhold it from whom He wills. Direct. Then they understood. Qarun had not lost everything by accident. The next day the people returned to the place where Qarun once stood. The place that once displayed unimaginable wealth was now almost empty. The men who had once envied Qarun now looked at each other in silence. Only yesterday they had wished for a life like his. Now they understood that wealth alone was never proof of success. They realized that Allah gives and takes according to His wisdom. The wiser among them had understood the truth all along. Qarun had owned much, but none of it could follow him. Qarun's wealth was enormous, but wealth was never proof of true success. True success belongs to those who seek the hereafter and avoid corruption. The greatest loss was not losing his wealth, it was losing himself to pride. The Quran leaves us with a clear truth. The hereafter is for those who do not seek superiority on earth, because in the end, you cannot take your wealth with you, but you take what it made you become. Wealth itself wasn't Qarun's greatest failure. His arrogance, self-attribution, and corruption were.